10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. Stand by.
How about that?
I don't need a medium to predict that you all are going to love this show today, but we have a medium here anyway. Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. That's right, he speaks to dead people and tells them your fortune. He's with us here in Hour 1, and I know that you're going to enjoy that. A lot of Canadian sports. And in Hour 2, our good friend Kenny Nagunst from 806 Sports Radio in Amarillo, Texas is going to be with us for a full NFL preview and everything else that's going on, because I know you're dying for that. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Let's get everybody going on that. Kevin the Medium's here, and before we go, let's exchange pleasantries. Kev, the big story for me is literally something different for everybody, because MLB is off, NFL isn't playing yet, CFL Week 7 hasn't even kicked off. Everybody's got something different. What's yours?
And the medium's going through baseball withdrawal. If somebody would have told me a year ago that I'd be like, why isn't there any baseball games on? I would have laughed at him. But this year I've been paying attention and watching so many games. Get rid of the All-Star game. I hate All-Star games. Have we ever talked about that? I'm not a fan of All-Star games. Any sport. Just take a break. If you need a break, take a week break. Let the players go to Mexico or do whatever they do, and then come back. This All-Star just drives me crazy.
You know, it's, dude, we just talked on the phone. You didn't say you were going to bring that up. I could talk about that for hours. Not only do I love All-Star games, I wish there were more. And for a variety, from the marketing aspect of it and the memories that are made in them, because we remember a lot of great memories from All-Star games gone by in all the leagues. But the fact that we've always kind of wished that, you and I are both CFL guys, that we could have, like, they did have an All-Star game for years in the CFL. They don't have anything like that anymore. And even if it was a flag All-Star game, I don't know. I wish they would do that. But I guess everybody has a different opinion on it. If they had a CFL one, I bet you'd be into that.
Maybe, like, I'm a big hockey fan, and I can't remember the last time I watched the All-Star game for the NHL. I'm just not. It's the same thing with award shows. To me, I'm going to pat myself on the back and tell you how good I am, and it's just go play the game. That's going to tell me how good you are.
It's funny. My timeline was full last night of everybody going on and on about the ESPYs were on last night, and friends of mine like Scruffy and Trevor Harris from WQAM Miami, who was on with us last week. And I'm like, I didn't even think about the fact that they were on. Because again, as I said, when the NHL and the NFL aren't playing, everybody's fractured. Everybody's fractured. They're all into something different. And I don't like that time of year yet. It's kind of good too, because we talk about everything else. But having said all of that, so in the absence of one main thing, so many people have come here today to talk about the Canadian Football League, and it's in my commentary today that runs on Sask Radio. We don't got to wait long for the game of the week. Let's get, I guess that's point 2 of the Quick Six Show topics for Uniglobe Carefree Travel. BC at Edmonton Friday night. Are you going to be able to sleep tonight in anticipation of this big game? The Leos at the El Camos.
It's one of those where you're just like, oh my goodness. This is a game that, again, I don't want. It's early in the season. It's not a must win, but it's pretty close to a must win for BC. So let's go. I'm excited for it, obviously.
Who are you picking to win, Kev? The CFL?
Oh, no, yeah, I know. There you go.
Oh, the Lions. Yeah, I get. Well, so, I'll be honest. I talked to you about this morning, and I went kind of on a bit of a rant yesterday. I'm like, everybody wondered why I was so happy coming to Moose Jaw for my summers and broadcasting baseball. And now they're like, oh, now we get it. You love the kids and it's high-level baseball. And the Millers won our 9th in a row last night. We're probably going to win the whole damn thing. I'm having so much fun. So that's frankly where my focus is in a lot of ways. And I'm hoping that I can get home, is my point on all of this, Friday night after we play the 4th of a 4-game homestand to watch some of that game. Because I tried my first summer doing baseball to watch CFL games in the booth or whatever, or even the Stanley Cup when the Oilers were playing the Panthers, and do baseball. Guess what, Kev? You can't. You might as well, as a broadcaster, be an umpire. Can you imagine being an ump and trying to watch a game? Oh. A pitch went by. I don't know what it was, but you just
We'll go with a
you
strike.
can't. Right. Sometimes I think that's what they are doing, but no. No, I'm hoping to get home Friday night. I mean, and Saturday's going to be awesome. There's a doubleheader. I mean, we're just right now just kicking tires, killing time in this opening segment before I actually get down and deep on your picks, because Scruffy and I did ours the other day. I knew that you would pick BC, but some of these other games, they really aren't that easy. But we got 2.5 minutes in this segment, and you said it's still early in the season. Kev, is it early in the season? We're almost through the opening third of the whole season.
Yes, I mean, you know the saying better than anybody. The season starts after Labor Day.
No.
Come on.
Well, I know the saying.
Know.
Yeah.
So can it be turned around? All you got to do is go back. I always say it, just a short few years ago, 2011, which was 15 years ago, and BC started 0-5. Everybody counted them out, and they went on a run. So can it be turned around after 5-6 games? Yeah, it can. But with this year, you don't want to fall behind too far, because there's some good teams in the West. So it's going to be a grind right down to the finish. You can't, anybody that says, oh, this team is guaranteed to finish first this early in the season, nah. There's no team, whether you want to be a Rider fan, an Elkimo fan, a BC Lions fan, and we'll even give Jeff the Stamps fan some credit. The Stamps, you can't just pick one team this year. It's going to be like right down to that final couple games, which is why I love the CFL.
Well, this is going to be a fun chat today with Kevin the Medium regarding All-Star games. Kev says he hates them. I don't love them, but I strongly do like them. And Ken in Mississauga writes in, he says, I remember the CFL used to have one. It feels like forever ago. It was over forever ago. It was over 40 years ago. But my good friend Steve Mazurik, who for many years was the Rough Riders marketing guy, you'll remember that name, Steve Mazurik, Kev, because he's a Hall of Fame Rough Rider. He played in the All-Star game in 1980, and they got belt buckles. I'm like, my God, what a time to be alive. You were an All-Star in the CFL. They gave you a belt buckle, and he still got it. And I think he's actually got it on the original belt that he got back in 1980. So I wish that they did it. For whatever reason, they don't. I still think if they could bring back Mark's CFL week and incorporate some sort of flag event for that, it would go over well. I don't really know, but nobody asks my opinion anymore. I'm just an old fart sitting here yakking it up on the old yak box every day, trying to stay relevant. Anyways, 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge here in Moose Jaw. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. You can kind of see the road we're going down here, and we'll continue it right after this first break with Kevin the Medium of the Hughes Sports Cast on the RP Show.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Jumping right back into it, it is the warm-up for our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. We're brought to you in part by the Mad Greek Eatery. When we talk hockey, it's brought to you by the Mad Greek. I don't know if we'll get to hockey with Kev here in hour one or not. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs everybody's raving about? You can go check them out at the Mad Greek Eatery. Kevin's had them. Anybody that's watching right now, go in there and say, hey, Rod said on the RP show, Johnny, the Mad Greek, that you go through 6 gallons of that Greek sauce a day. Is that true? 6 gallons? It might actually be even more than that. But check them out for yourself at the Mad Greek Eatery. Okay, Kev, I just saw on Facebook that you had to postpone your show tonight because of weather last night because of weather concerns, the Hughes Sports Podcast, and various things. Explain, please.
It was one of those calamity of errors last night. We originally had planned to go live at 8 o'clock. Jake was delayed at work, so we postponed it and said 9 o'clock. Literally, I'm setting up everything on our stream, and my phone makes this horrible noise. And I look down, and when I lived in Calgary and Airdrie, we used to get tornado warnings. You basically read, there could be. No, twice now, maybe 3 times since I've lived here this spring. It says, there is a tornado in your area. Go to your basement. We don't have a basement, so I always worry. And then, of course, at the same time, the gremlins got into Jake's computer and shut it down. And he had no key. It was just a calamity of errors. So I just looked at him and said, we'll do it tomorrow.
Tell him I said too much porn. And as far as the tornadoes go, we got Storm Chaser Ricky Forbes coming on tomorrow, everybody, by the way. Ricky Forbes, the Storm Chaser, is coming on tomorrow in the hour 2, the third segment. So anyways, just on all of this, Vintage Sasko writes in, Kev started it, not me. He says he hates all-star games. I said I don't love them, but I strongly like them. Vintage Sasko writes in, he says, hey, Uncle Rod and the iconic Full House Hughes, I want to see a flag football tourney featuring CFL All-Stars and the national men's flag team. Invite some other countries. It'll be a fun off-season weekend, baby. That is from Vintage Sasko. I want to get this from you before we go any further. I haven't talked to you since the BC Lions fired their special teams coordinator, Corey McDermott. You are, and replaced him with Dennis McKnight on Monday. You are a football guy. Was special teams the problem with the 0-3 BC Lions?
Was it special teams part of the problem? Yeah, but it wasn't the problem. I still think it's our defensive lineup is just not good enough. It's just simple. Week after week, we sit in this stupid zone defense, and the quarterbacks now are able to pick apart a zone defense. You look at them, and anybody playing that stupid zone defense, it's going to be picked apart. So I scream at my TV. You've seen me. You've seen me watching games. I'm not a quiet person watching, and I'm constantly screaming about our defense. So I expected changes. I expected it to be somebody else. And I think if we don't win a few games here in a row, there will be big changes coming down. You never want somebody to lose their job, but this is business. And as you know, Mr. Doman, he wants to win. He's not somebody who's just there to be able to say, I own the BC Lions. He wants a winning team, and it's been a long time.
Well, let me say this. Not all owners annoy me. There's some good ones and there's some great ones, and I'm cheering for Amar Dolman to win because I think he's a great owner. The Vegas Golden Knights owner, Bill Foley, is a great owner. The Florida Panthers owner, Vincent Viola, is a great owner, but don't even get me. I won't mention the ones that Jerry Jones is not a great owner with the Dallas Cowboys, and I'll be getting into that next hour with Kenny Nagunst. So they're not all. Here's the thing. I think we all have a side that people don't like. Yes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just because you and I believe are nice guys, but there are some people out there that don't like us for their own reasons. So the point in all this is Amar Dolman flashes his smile. He treats his staff tremendously, and he's been great to me. But I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. I would not want that. Kev, you don't want to be on my bad side. Ask some people. So that's my whole point. Just do what you want and win, and you'll be fine. I feel like you're just saying it. If BC doesn't start winning, Mar might not be smiling as much. Fair?
I'm sure there's many meetings in the last 2-3 years where Omar's not been the smiley, happy guy that we see behind the camera or in front of the camera. Behind the camera, he's probably kicking a few garbage cans saying what the actual we need to start do. We need to make changes. We're not winning. We need to make changes. So let's hope it doesn't come to that. Because again, I hate when people lose their jobs. But as strictly a fan, take everything else away. We need to win. And if we have to make changes to win, so be it. Whether that be players, coaches, GMs, it doesn't matter. Make the changes you need to in order to win.
Well, we've just really sold the importance of Friday night's game. My God. Listen, if they lose it, it's not the end of the world, okay? I mean, I get what you're saying. But Wayne in BC writes in with a point. He's a Rider fan, but he says on the Western Dodge text line, he says, hey, morning, Rod and Kevin, I'm cheering for the Lions tomorrow. It's not to help the Riders, but because I want the Lions to be in the mix. Hopefully there won't be any more major injuries, which, by the way, that's the other thing. We should move on. I mean, Bo Levi and our little rivalry there, it is what it is. I mean, I've never met the man. I don't hate the guy, and to be honest, it's terrible that he's not playing because with these other games this week, which, by the way, let me stop Mickey Mousing. You got BC to beat Edmonton. That's an easy one. Who do you have Montreal at Calgary to win?
I'm going to stick with the Stamps. I picked the Stamps last week, and I'm going to stick with them being at home. I think VA is going to come out and show what he's made of this week.
I think so too. Toronto at Hamilton, the late game Saturday. Who do you like?
I'm taking the Argos. Hamilton's in trouble, let's face it.
And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at Ottawa. Who do you got?
You know what? I went back and forth on this one just for the fact it's intriguing. This is going to be an intriguing game. So I've taken the Bombers. I think somebody has a bit of a chip on their shoulder, and it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Kevin, the medium with us, David writes in, number 2. Why do you want to talk to Kevin? No, it's the RP show. You should be asking me questions. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says, hey, Kevin, who do you think should start for the Bombers? Either choice will probably win against Ottawa. The Red Blacks aren't close. Let me just say this. They will start the guy that gives them the best chance to win. Even Zach Caleros at not 100% is probably better than the other guys. I think I read that he is limited in practice. I think you probably want to start Drew Brown. He won last week against Toronto, why would you rush Zach?
Yeah, give Zach the opportunity to heal, put Drew in, knowing that you can always make that switch if you need to. But I think Drew might have something to prove.
Vancouver Eric writes in and says the team can't come back home with one win and expect this fan base to support it. That is Vancouver Eric, obviously, huge BC Lions fan. Where are the Lions fans at, Kev? You're one of them. Like, what are they saying? They're 1-3 going into this game here Friday night.
Every fan that I talk to, and I obviously get a lot of text messages and Facebook messages from my crowd back in BC, and everybody's kind of sitting on the edge going, what is this going to do? Like, if we win, we're right back in it. If we lose, now we're 4-1. That doesn't look good. So everybody's just like me. They're just kind of sitting there going, deep breath. It's all good. Let's wait till after this game. If we need to make changes, that's when it's going to happen.
I actually initially misread Wayne's comment from BC when he said he was cheering for BC because of how it might affect the Riders. And I'll just say this. It's not just from my years in sport. I've always looked at it this way. Kevin's known me now a long time. I'm a run your own race kind of guy in that, the fans are all looking at the standings, and good for them. And the teams might take a peek at them, but I don't think it's scaring the BC Lions. And I'll give you an example. Like Paul Maurice with the Florida Panthers said a couple of years ago, he goes, I don't even look at the standings till after Christmas. And I'm sure that's a bit of a fib, but the point, he goes, I'm not putting any stock in it because he spends the first half of the season getting their game finely tuned and then looking around. You know, it's just similar to our team here in Moose Jaw. We're coming up to the All-Star break here this weekend. We have the best team in the league. We've won 9 in a row. I have not even looked at the standings for the first. I haven't even looked at them other than to write down going in my score sheet going into the broadcast what the team's records are. Doesn't matter. And here's the problem for the CFL, which these guys aren't dumb, but sometimes I wonder if they see it. All this talk that you and I are having, Kev, about are you out of it yet? Are you cheering for this team because it will help or hurt your team? That's not going to matter next year when 8 of 9 teams make the playoffs. Like that whole discussion goes away, and that blows.
Does it? Because I mean, it really depends where you get seated in that. Yes, 8 of 9 teams, could be 10 teams. Lots of rumors for Quebec. We won't go there, but it's still, I think, going to matter where you finish in that top 8. This year, I mean, as every year, I don't start looking at that till after Labor Day. And then I'm like, okay, if the Bombers beat Riders, that'll help my Lions. So go Bombers. That made me throw up a little bit in my mouth. But this early in the season, I'm focusing on what we're doing, especially with the Lions this year. It's like we need to win, period, end of story. It doesn't matter what anybody else does.
Well, I'm pretty confident in my analysis. I mean, the BC Lions have played 4 games. They haven't looked great in most of them, but they're going into the lab. They're tinkering under the hood. That's what teams do when they struggle out of the gate. When you win early, that can, what do they say? Winning is a perfume that can mask a lot of warts, or however that saying goes. Like the Riders are 4-1, but you know what? I think they're all that. I watched that team, and they're like a Swiss watch. They are the best team in the CFL. Actually, chuckled when I saw the power rankings come up from the CFL earlier this week. I think they had Montreal 1, Edmonton 2, Sask 3. Edmonton, to me, is a 3 dressed up as a 9. And I love Cody Fajardo, but the bottom will fall out soon, potentially as early as Friday night.
Yeah. It's to not, and you know I'm not a Rider fan, but to not have the Riders at the top as of right now, what are you thinking? I mean, they are a well-oiled machine. They are just doing everything they need to do. And top to bottom, it doesn't matter which part of the team you're looking at, special teams, defense, offense, receivers, they just have it all together.
Oh, you and I got to have we got to burn up a phone line later, because just so anybody, you can tell all your folks out there around Maple Creek that the reason the Riders are where they are is because of Corey Mace. That's a fact, Jack. He runs the team like he's the general of the army. Players are coming to play for him because they love and respect him. Everything changed in Ryderville when Corey Mace showed up. So don't give anybody else the credit. And you go, well, what about Trevor Harris? He's all part of that. The two of them together. But again, they didn't start winning en masse and start like the Philharmonic Choir, everybody singing, playing in unison from every part of the choir together since Corey Mace showed up. And it's funny because when I say the Maple Creek thing, Sunday I was at a supper, family supper in Regina Beach. There's a 90-year-old lady there, Dorothy. And they're like, Dorothy doesn't like Corey Mace. And the old me would have been, I'm like, you know what? Just don't like him then. I can't imagine why you would not like this guy. Why would you? But you know what? Fine. Have it your way. And my life is a hell of a lot more peaceful, as I told you, Kev. We'll be right back. 902-518-3033 is the text line. That's full. The YouTube chat's full. We're having a fun day. Kenny Nagunst coming up in hour 2 from 806 Sports Radio in Texas. Going to be talking a lot of NFL with Kenny, as well as some MLB, World Cup, and whatever else comes up. So get your questions and comments in. One more segment with Kevin the Medium right after this on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Wreck Loss teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
2 of Canada's biggest country acts. 1 stage, 1 unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at saskpix.ca.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Because Kevin's here, we got to mention this. Score a touchdown in the Caribbean. Join CFL legend Adam Bighill, along with Willie Jefferson, Jake Serezna, on a 7-day cruise of a lifetime, departing from Fort Lauderdale February 20th. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Kevin the Medium's going to be on it. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. We got hung up on the CFL here, which is fine because that's Kevin's favorite topic, but I should just mention this because I got you here. The poll question for Country Thunder is, will you be watching the World Cup final on Sunday? I'll be talking a little bit more about it. Argentina is going to play Spain in the World Cup final on Sunday. What is it for you, Kev? A yes or a no on the daily poll for Country Thunder?
No. I'll pay attention to the score because I get updates on my phone. I think I get updates every time someone takes a dive. So you can imagine it's blowing up constantly, but I won't be watching it live.
Cool. I don't even know what time it is. I'm just looking at my schedule going, I don't really have anything else on that day. So, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will. The plan probably is people plan and God laughs, as you know, one of my favorite sayings. From the YouTube chat, Vancouver Eric says, agreed on Corey Mace. He's a culture changer. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, technically there are better teams than the Riders. It's Corey carrying the weight, bro. Maybe not. I mean, Montreal's got a pretty stacked roster for sure, too. They got the top passer. They got the top receiver. They're pretty damn good. But as Bernie Perrant told me, the great Bernie Perrant, you remember Bernie Perrant, Kev? You must. You're old enough.
Of course I do.
I was having lunch with the Philadelphia Flyers' great goaltender in Saskatoon a few years ago, and he was like, you know who will win the Stanley Cup? I said, right now, I can't tell you today, Bernie. He goes, the best team. Not the group with the best players, the best team. And that's why the Millers have won 9 in a row. That's why the Riders are on top of the CFL. They have the best team. That's what I see. What else is on your mind, Kev? What else is on your mind?
Looking forward to baseball coming back after the All-Star break here. And like you said, I think this week, almost every game this week is intriguing in the CFL. I'm planning to be at the park for the most of the weekend. So today I'm going to set the TV up, make sure it's going to work, and be able to sit out in the sunshine and watch the games at the park.
For me, the games are a bit of a meh. I mean, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Toronto, Hamilton, not really my thing. And that is the night, by the way, that I'm going into the CKRM Hall of Fame, the Icon induction. So I'm not even going to be watching it anyways. I'll be watching it on my phone. But Jason in Red Deer says, will Davis Alexander break the record for continuous pass attempts without an interception? Just so you know, if you read my weekend newsletter, and I would hope you're smart enough to have done that, he's only, I don't know what he is, 30 to 50 attempts without a pick away from breaking Darian Durant's record. How many people actually knew Darian Durant held that record in the league? But he did. And I know Davis is at 304. I can't just quite remember what Darian is at. There's no reason to think that he won't. Just so you know, it brought up, so I love my Argo fan viewers because they come here because literally nobody else is talking about the CFL but us. And they brought up the fact that MLSE is considering selling off the Argos, and I feel like they're worried about that. And I said, I can literally give you 10 names of guys right now that will line up to buy the Toronto Argonauts. Okay, they're the oldest pro football team on the continent. They're a major brand with 1 million Grey Cups. The Argos are fine if MLSE drops them. And Ken in Mississauga writes, then he goes, I put your take about potential Argos buyers into Google Gemini, and it explained how you could be right. I'm not could be right. I'm always right. I'm sitting here going, I just can't tell you what I know. And when I do tell you what I know, it pisses everybody off.
Go figure.
Yeah, so it's I try to bite my I know way too much specifically about this league. But anyway, speaking of the Argos, Chad Kelly's complaining that they haven't played a home game yet. How do you feel about that?
Just shut up. I don't get this guy. It's just every year he's like whining about something. It's like BC hasn't had a damn home game then. Come on. You played an hour away from where you normally play. If your fans can't come out to that, come out to Ryderville sometime, dude. People out here drive 3-4 hours for a game. Come on. It lit me on fire when I read that. I was just like, oh, this guy's got to just stop talking.
What's in your coffee, Kev?
I don't know, but it's got me shaking my fist at the cloud this morning.
Well, I know. I didn't mean to do that. You came out spitting fire today. I might rename you Kevin Scruffy the Medium Hughes, because these are scruffy worthy hot takes. And I mean, I'm kind of getting back to the way I was, but I don't want to be a mean maniac either, biting off people's heads. I don't want to be that guy. Like, I try to be nice. I didn't really like myself when I was that guy. And I'm not saying that you are, but I'm saying with Chad Kelly. Yeah, I'm not saying you are, but like with Chad, well, let's listen to Chad, but no. Here's my summation on that. People don't like to hear complainers, especially people, Kev, of our generation. It's like the kids in the back of the car. Shut up! You know what I mean? Like, just stop complaining. You just said it right. The Lions haven't been home, and there's a lot of people dealing with a lot worse things than you, Chad Kelly. So I guess you kind of made it okay for us all to say shut up. That's my point.
There you go. No, I mean, has it been a season where it's like a weird season because of the World Cup in Canada? Yeah. But we knew that going in. Like, it wasn't like all of a sudden they reveal the schedule a week before. It's like, come on. Oh, the Argos are so hard done by. Stop. Just stop. It drives me crazy, Rob.
I know. Complaining drives me crazy just overall. Moose always says, you complain about the complainers. Shut up. You can shut up. Regarding the soccer and the World Cup, Vancouver Eric writes, and he says, yes, I'll watch, and then won't watch the sport for another 4 years. Yeah. Brenton Wellington, Florida writes, and he says, RJ says, go ESP. I thought he was going to say ESPN. Like I guess he's talking about Spain. We had a sponsor that paid us to do a watch party. It went very well, but then we never heard from them again. So, I mean, they were paying me to watch it. I was getting into it. And at this point, I kind of what you and I talked about on the phone this morning, even if you tried to ignore the World Cup, you couldn't, because it's in your phone. It's on the TV. It's used. I don't know about you, but like McDonald's World Cup meals, Tim Hortons. Like, where am I at all the time? McDonald's and Tim Hortons. That's where I'm at every day. So they're all over it. So you couldn't. I just will kind of be glad when it's over. So RJ will be watching soccer. There won't be a watch party. Ken in Mississauga says Chad's comments look worse in writing than in the post game when he said it. But like you said, ... Yeah, stop complaining. But I mean, this guy, I don't think he will ever learn. No. You know what I mean? He's fun to watch, though. He's good. You see why the guy keeps getting. You see why he gets so many chances. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He's one of the best to play the game. Let's face it. I mean, he's a great quarterback. Would I put him in the top 10? Probably not, but he's still really, really good. But dang, just stop with all the other stuff, because it makes it so easy to not like you. We being the Hughes Sports Podcast, we don't mention his name on the air. Jake refuses to for his own personal reasons. So I have to, we've agreed that I won't mention his name. Every once in a while, just to bug him, I will. But he makes it so easy not to like him.
Less than a minute. Talk about Kevin the Medium or taking bookings. Kevin the Medium, the fortune teller.
The foot is healing up really nice. I've got a walking cast now. I'm walking around with one crutch rather than hobbling around, which is really nice. So healing up, ready to take bookings again. Pay attention. Angela and I, we're doing a new show starting again this Tuesday called Dear Universe. If you're old enough to remember Dear Abby, it's sort of like that, but spiritual. Tune in Tuesday. It's all in all my channels, Kevin the Medium.
Yeah, go look him up on Instagram. Facebook and Instagram, just Kevin the Medium, easy to find, and I've got him tagged and everything. All right, Kev, let's be in touch. I feel like we're not done talking for the day, so we'll see you later.
We will. Take care.
We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. We are just having a great day. How about you? I know I am, and really it's the Rod Pedersen Show, so that's really all that I care about. We could sit here and talk about, I could read your text messages forever. I may. We have that many. I could fill the rest of the hour, 16 minutes, with your messages, and I think that would be very entertaining. But I'll just tell you a story on the soccer and this. It reminded me, something just popped into my mind. I was the 20-year-old voice of the Prince Albert Raiders, morning sportsman on CKBI Radio 900 AM, and those are big jobs in terms of a lot of hours, and we would have to get up and do the morning show, you're on the air at 6 a.m., meaning you got to be there no later than 5 a.m., and you're on the air until noon, and then I would drive over to the rink, and we'd get on the bus and drive 4 hours down to Regina for a game and then come back and do it all over again. And I remember getting on the bus, and Donnie Clark was our coach, Wendell's brother, and I'm 20, okay? And he was like, "Oh, what happened in the NFL today?" I don't know. Well, I thought you were a sports guy. In my mind, I'm thinking STFU, but I would just simmer and put my head on the pillow, sleep all the way to Regina, call the game, come back, and like I say, do it all over again. See you later, fellas. Hockey boys are here training this morning. My point is, just because I have had a career in sports doesn't mean I care about it all. And to be honest, I was really impressed by you people yesterday that you knew that the WNBA team called the Mystics are from Washington. I think you could have put a gun to my head and I would not have known that. And I actually, I did. I wrote down tonight's games in the WNBA because there's SFA going on. Really? In terms of pro sport. Who's the Fire? This would be a fun game. Let's have Rod guess where these teams are from. Because the Score app, for which I used to work at the Score, it was actually one of the greatest times of my life and met a lot of long-time great friends. Sarah Orleski, Arash Madani, Elliot Friedman. All the greats came out of there. Sid Sixero. Anyways, the Fire are at the Mystics tonight. I have no idea. Do you know where the Fire are from the WNBA, Corey? I don't. And then you guys all knew. He doesn't know. Okay. The Liberty, that's New York, I believe. And the Wings, I think, are from Dallas. And the only reason I know that is because Paige Beckers went to them. She was the U.S. Olympic star, was she not, Paige Beckers? So anyways, I'm not into it all. I'm just not, and I'm going to stop pretending that I am. I'm not. I was correct. You looked, I don't know where the Fire is, though. None of us know. Yeah, producer, of course, he didn't. And don't look it up. I don't want to waste your time nor mine or anybody else's on. I'm not saying the WNBA is a waste of time. Don't, as Chris Jones would say, don't get it twisted. I'm just saying I can't follow it all. And I'm done trying. Oh, it's Portland, producer Corey. The Portland Fire. Okay. Bob writes in, he says, "Good day, Rod and Kevin. Bob from Medicine Hat, watching your show again. Have a great day, guys." Wayne in Victoria. I love it. He goes, "There are 2 CFL games on Saturday, so I won't be watching the World Cup. It's on Sunday, but thanks for playing." David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says 323 is the Darian Durant record. Do we all think Davis Alexander can connect 19 passes without an interception or attempt 19 passes without I think we can see that record falling come Saturday. Held by Darian Durant. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, Kelly's comments after the Winnipeg loss made the news south of the border on NBC. So I guess when Kevin said, why does he say these things? Maybe because he was asked, for one, and for two, people shove a mic in his face. Speaking of that, Vintage Sasko writes in, he says, "Hi, Uncle Rod. I am making the iconic Full House Hughes rant on Chad Kelly my ringtone. Epic. Right in the feels." Signed, Vintage Sasko. Rob from Windthorst writes in. He says, "Kevin dropping truth bombs all morning. Loving it. That's why I said, what's in your copy, Kev?" And isn't that ironic? The one day of Tim Hortons camp day, I didn't go to Tim's because the lineup was too flippin' long and I had places to be. So I went to McDonald's and it was pretty good too. I didn't complain about it. Can we just stop complaining? 902-518-3033. I'm having fun. How about you? Jason in Red Deer. Why is Chad Kelly complaining about not having a home game? It's not like it's a crazy environment at Argo home games. It's not Mosaic, for God's sake. Basically, he's saying, why is it so great? I think it would be nice to sleep in his own bed for once, Jason. That would be my suggestion. Be honest, I went through that period before I settled in Florida, where I was ripping all over the place, Regina to Toronto to Montreal to Calgary to Florida and back. There was one week that I spent 7 nights in 7 different beds, and that's kind of what the Argos are going through. So I kind of understand, frankly, what he's saying. I have a little time for that. I feel in a lot of ways, I don't know what went on in Toronto with Chad Kelly. I don't know. He got suspended for 9 games. That might have not even been correct. I have a lot of friends with that Argos organization, by the way, that have their own take on that. And just the fact that he's still their quarterback should tell you all you need to know. So anyways, in a lot of ways, I feel like Chad Kelly's misunderstood. And maybe if he'd said, I'd like to sleep in my own bed, is that too much to ask for? Maybe he should have said that. The other points, I've also learned to not carry other people's crosses. As my advisor, Lisa, says, you've bared enough of your own crosses, Rod. You don't need to carry anybody else's. Word. Point 1 of the quick 6 is everybody has a different big story. Point 2 is week 7 in the CFL. I got Kevin's picks, which are, by the way, brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. It's our sports watching headquarters. I got to get there again soon. Point 3, tens of thousands of soccer fans flooded the streets of Argentina's capital on Wednesday evening in a collective eruption of ecstasy over their national team's 2-1 victory over England to reach the World Cup final. The celebrations are expected to go for days, at least until the weekend, following Lautaro Martinez's winning goal 2 minutes into injury time in the game in Atlanta. Defending champions Argentina will now play Spain in the World Cup final on Sunday. I'm seeing everybody tweeting that England is the Toronto Maple Leafs of soccer. I'm like, tap me out. I'm done. Everybody's trying to have a cute hot take, and I'm over it. Point 4 is the National Hockey League. You're going to run this all over again. Run it back an hour or two. Philadelphia Flyers have reached a 4-year contract agreement with forward Trevor Zegras with an average annual value of $9.125 million. Winnipeg Jets have re-signed Cole Perfetti, Mum Spaghetti, to a 5-year contract with an average annual value of US $6 million, the NHL team announced Wednesday. I'll get into way more of the details next hour. I'm making a note to myself. Note to self. You'll have to tune in hour 2 to see what it is. Point 5. Baseball. That the Dodgers have the best record and the largest division lead in baseball as the second half of the season gets underway is not a shock. Beyond that, however, a look at the standing shows a lot of surprises. The Chicago White Sox tied for the AL Central lead. The Tampa Bay Rays, the best record in the AL. How about the NL? The Miami Marlins sitting in a wild card spot. The Washington Nationals, along with the Pirates, leading baseball in runs scored. I feel like we need to dig into this more next hour. Kirk in Toronto, God love you, buddy. You're a P1. You watch this show every day, but it's like, I know the attendance sucks in some CFL markets, but what about the Marlins? You just worry about yourself. To quote my grade 8 French teacher, Mr. Dale Struthers, you just worry about Kirk from Toronto. The guest is Kenny Nagunst coming up. Kenny Nagunst. I'm going to tell you, I know a lot of Texans, but Kenny Nagunst has the thickest Texas accent. So just prepare yourself. Y'all want to prepare yourself for the Kenny Nagunst interview next hour on 806 Sports. I mean, I love him. I love him, and he loves me. We just met a year ago. As he says, we're best buds right away. It's why I go on his show all the time. He comes on mine. But we were talking about when Terry Funk came through Amarillo, Texas. Was it Terry Funk? I'll have to get Kenny again. The wrestling great. And said Kenny was just a wee bitty boy. Did you come into the show? Kenny goes, no, sir, I ain't got a ticket. Like, you almost need subtitles when those Texans get talking. It's not as bad as Chris Jones and his friends from southern Tennessee and northern Alabama. Like, that's, you forget it. Our strength coach, producer Corey said Kenny's awesome. Kenny is awesome. Here's the thing. He's a bit of a misunderstood guy like the rest of us, but he never gets in trouble. Not that I've known. And the character that Patrick Swayze plays in the movie Roadhouse, Dalton, is loosely based on Kenny Nagunst because he used to be a bouncer in a Amarillo, Texas nightclub. You don't have time to go watch Roadhouse before Kenny comes on, but later tonight, maybe if you want to watch the movie Roadhouse, download that. That was all about Kenny Nagunst. As far as I'm concerned, that's what it is. So we're going to get into a lot of NFL talk with Kenny and all the other things that are going on. I got to turn some lights on. And I know it looks like I'm sitting over a jack-o'-lantern right now because they've turned a lot of the lights off in here today. But you know what? Nobody's dying the last that I looked. Okay, it's not like we're playing 8 in a row on the road. You know, we'll survive. Hour 2 is going to be big fun, y'all. Oh, the guest spots for Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 306-985-0050. Be right back after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Thursday. What's going on in your world? It ain't lonesome in ours. It is the RP Show. Welcoming the viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports, whenever, however you're watching. Game Plus streaming, of course, across Canada and around the world. Podcast and WQVZ Radio. I'll tell you what, down in the U.S. South, they will have no problem understanding today's guest. Kenny Nagunst is going to be joining us in the guest segment, brought to you by Prairie Panels from 806 Sports, Texas. John watching in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. He writes in, he says, I love a Texas accent. Now, listen, so do I. But I'm telling you, Kenny Nagunst has the thickest Texas accent of any Texan I know, and I love it too. I'm just preparing y'all for when he joins us in the next segment. You might want to slow it down if you can. Now, my dad worked for the Dallas Stars for 26 years, so he spent a lot of time in Texas. And so, yeah, we know the people. Great sports people. And I just thought it's been a while since we got Kenny on, and I want to talk some football with him. But until we do, there's a whole lot of shaking going on in sports. And I'm opening with this in the warm-up, which is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions, the Canadian Football League's BC Lions. I hope you all enjoyed the interview as much as I did with G. Roy Simon yesterday. Yeah, he is a Canadian Football League great, two-time Grey Cup champion, but the current general manager of the Maryland Terrapins. And I'm just saying, if you missed yesterday's show, you might want to go back and watch it or catch the replay on Silver State Sports, because if you want to know what the role of a general manager in big-time college sports is, G. Roy laid it out perfectly. It is not a job that I would want. So God bless him for taking on that role in sports now, because it wouldn't be easy. But anyways, I said, what's everyone's big story? I said it to our Hour One co-host, Kevin the Medium. He's a fortune teller. And what the hell did he say? He said his is baseball, which I'll get to here in the warm-up if we have time. But the one thing for me, it is frankly Week 7 in the CFL. When I put my Canadian hat on, it's Week 7 in the Canadian football. It gets my own baseball team, our collegiate baseball team that's won a club record 9 games in a row. But I understand you may not all care about that. You will when we're in the league final, trust me. But there's World Cup, MLB, NHL for those that celebrate. So what is yours? Just write it and tell me. 902-518-3033. I've often told the viewers, we're not a jukebox. You don't plug in a quarter and I'll sing you the song that you want, but just give me an idea. Oh, and by the way, with Uniglobe Carefree Travel, when it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Because the NFL teams are not in their training camps yet, but they're going to be here right away. Point 1 is, what's the big story? I want to know yours. Point 2 is the National Football League, because it is now America's pastime. And if you go to ESPN.com and you get past the fake news that is the receiver rankings, Jamar Chase ranked the number 1 receiver in the NFL from what I saw at ESPN. I don't spend my time on that. The best quarterbacks, the best D tackles. It's. I understand it's debate starting, and you can fill hours with it. But there's other things to talk about. Like the next thing is this. The Dallas Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens will officially play the 2026 season on his $27.3 million franchise tender after Wednesday's 4 p.m. Eastern deadline for tagged players to agree to long-term contracts passed. As you all know, this isn't news. This was an expected conclusion after the Cowboys announced before the draft in April that they did not plan to hold talks on a long-term contract with Pickens. The last time the Cowboys signed a player tagged for the first time to an extension was wide receiver Des Bryant back in 2015. So we all knew that they weren't going to do that. I'm sorry. Well, George Pickens is good. He ain't Des Bryant. He hasn't played a playoff game yet in a Cowboys uniform. I can tell you that for free. But I'm going to get into this with Kenny Nagunst in the next segment. He might even be logged in now and watching. I'm not sure. But let me ask you this. And I was remiss. We're talking about so many other things. I never brought this up with Kevin the Medium, the fortune teller. Well, you would think being a fortune teller, he'd be a lot better with his sports predictions, but his suck. I mean, mine aren't great, but they're better than his. In my weekend column, you sign up for our newsletter. Right on the screen it says there's the QR code, or you can just go to rodpedersen.com, click on newsletter, and sign up It's free, brought to you by Suds Car Wash. I went through my top 10 stories in the NFL right now going into the season. And quite frankly, one of the biggest stories, and I got to get to the bottom of this with Kenny when he joins us because it's kind of local to him. I didn't have it in my top 10, but Brendan Sorsby, who was to be Texas Tech's quarterback this year, but he's been banned by the NCAA for all the bets that he placed in college football. So he says, I don't need to play my senior year. I'll just go in the supplemental draft. And the NFL's like, no, you won't. Yeah, we're not going to have a supplemental draft. So you can go into the regular draft like everybody else, which isn't until next spring. So, he filed that injunction in an Amarillo court, and they overruled the NCAA so that he could play. And I don't know the ins and outs of the whole story. How does an Amarillo court overrule the NCAA? But they did. That's right where Kenny is. So we'll get his take on that, plus all these NFL stories. Like, for me, of them, will the Kansas City Chiefs be able to run it back? The three-peat didn't happen. Patrick Mahomes, I think we all believe that he's going to be 100% healthy coming off the knee injury that he suffered last year. Travis Kelce's now married. How is that going to affect his play? Don't think for a second it won't. I mean, it could be better, could be worse. But it's going to affect it. Just the Chiefs overall. Kenny's sitting there in Amarillo, Texas, where he's not even a Cowboys fan, but you can't get away from Cowboys fandom there. Big question for me is, do the Dallas Cowboys even make the playoffs this year? Do I need to remind you that they haven't the last 2 years? Speaking of the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy missed the playoffs in his last year, got fired, 12 wins, missed the playoffs, and gets fired. He's up in Pittsburgh now with Aaron Rodgers. How's that going to play out? That's one of my top 10 stories, but I land the plane, Rod. As far as I'm concerned, right now, the number one story in the National Football League is, what's your Super Bowl matchup? Is the point. I said to Kevin that I was going to ask him, and then I forgot. So for the viewers, I'm asking you, what is your big story? And also, what is your Super Bowl matchup for this year's Super Bowl? And it was in my weekend newsletter. That's the point. You knew if I kept talking, I'd come around to it. The number one story is the Super Bowl matchup, and I have the Denver Broncos against the Los Angeles Rams. And when we got ready for the Super Bowl last year, it was Seattle and New England, as you know. Wasn't a good matchup. And to be honest, spent far too much time on today's show prior to this hour talking about complaining, because I don't go in big for complaining. If I complained as a kid, so I don't really complain other than complaining about complainers. But the people that said that it wasn't a great Super Bowl matchup last year, I have to concede, they weren't wrong. That was a bad game. This was a bad game. Like Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, as you know, won it against Drake May and the New England Patriots. And that was a matchup that, did anybody have that matchup at all last year? So my point is, for me to say Denver, LA, Rams may sound weird to you. How do we know? But I just look at what happened with Bo Nix last year, breaking his leg in the division championship game. That was a conference championship game. Either way, I just think that the Denver Broncos go to the next level this year with a healthy Bo Nix. And Sean Payton is an absolute genius as their head coach. And then as far as the Rams go, literally any sports book that you want to go look up the Super Bowl futures odds, they have the Rams as number one. So, well, if they do, I will. They've already won it once, so they've been to the top of the mountain. And maybe it's not Denver's time yet, but they've been knocking on the door under Bo Nix, and I'm just they will win a Super Bowl with that kid. Is it this year? I don't know, but it's going to be fun to watch. Kenny Nagunst will join us from 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas, coming up in the next segment. I was thinking of this the other day. Vancouver Eric says, George Pickens isn't someone you want to give a long-term contract to. I was out for one of my very long walks. What am I at for steps today? 8,377. That's not bad. My average is 10,300. I got long legs. Longer legs you have, the less steps you take. Look it up. Anyways, I had a pebble in my shoe the other day as I was walking down the street, Hastings Street, and I'm a pebble in my shoe. That's what Mike Tomlin called George Pickens. we got to get rid of him. He's like a pebble in our shoe. Just annoying. That's why they got rid of him in Pittsburgh. And that's not to say that he won't do great things in Dallas. He kind of already has, but I don't think you're looking at him to be a leader. And I think we all kind of forgot. Remember last year when the Cowboys were at Vegas? It was a primetime game, and the opening drive, all those top receivers, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, they all got sat out of the opening drive because they missed a team meeting. What do you think they were doing in Vegas? Now, we, as in the Cowboys, beat Vegas, but everybody beats Vegas. Should have sat him out the whole game. Jason writes in, thank you, viewer Jason. He says, my Super Bowl pick is either the Bills or Chiefs versus the Rams. Wouldn't that be nice if we could go lay down a bet in Vegas? I got 3 teams. No. Pick 2. I get the Bills thing. I get it. But I wonder if they're just always going to be the Bills. Jason, you'll get this when I say maybe they'll just be football's version of the Saskatoon Blades. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. Pick 2 teams. Denver Broncos and LA Rams for me. Bills watching in Brantford. The home of Wayne Gretzky. Writes in, he says, the Brantford Bulldogs have hired Brian Burke and Gary Roberts to their front office. Roberts, vice president of hockey operations. Burke will be senior advisor. Yes, he says the hirings happened a week ago. I saw it when it happened. I thought that was an interesting story. Berkey is, I guess, living in upstate New York. I don't know, maybe that's where he's from. I don't know, but I hear, yes, 111 Eastern. For the live audience, 1111 Mountain. The hockey people, they go visit Brian Burke at his home in upstate New York like you're going to visit the Pope at the Vatican. That's kind of the deal for Berkey. And he's earned it. He's in the 2026 Hockey Hall of Fame induction class, Stanley Cup winning general manager of the Anaheim Ducks, member of the USA Hockey Hall of Fame, and he's up there in upstate New York, right around, between Buffalo and the Canada border. And he's been hired to be a VP with the OHL Brantford Bulldogs. So will he live in Brantford? Probably not. That's the wonderful thing about technology these days. I mean, I only work in sports and media. I'm assuming other companies allow you to work from home. Ain't it great? Or wonderful sports facilities like this can work from wherever you want. Anyways, there's a little bit of a rant on the National Football League. Brent in the Bridge City writes, and he says, I'd love to see the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. 1,000 steps? Wow, Rod. I usually get 7,500 daily. Do you have really long legs, Brent? Or just, it's funny because I was talking to a guy the other day, runs this or works in this facility. Ryan is his name. I said, what's your average for steps? He's like, 30,000. I think the most steps I ever put on a day was 20,000. I walked from one end of Central Park in New York to the other. I was meeting my friend Michelle, who at the time was with the Beaches rehab facility in Malibu. It was a work meeting, and now she's at Carrera in Malibu in L.A. I should have cabbed it. Why did I not cab it? Anyways, 20,000 steps is my record. 902-518-3033. Yes, Kenny Nagunst joining us next from 806 Sports in Texas to answer all of your NFL questions. Thank you, producer Corey, in my ear. David, number 2, writes in. He says, complainers usually spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror. Right? Wayne in Victoria writes, and he says, my favorite sports are football, CFL or NFL. The other major sport I watch is hockey, mostly. No, I'm saying, what is your, I don't think I asked what your favorite sport is. I think I said, what's your number one story right now? That's what I asked, because I will read this to be charitable, because we are a sports show, but we ain't Sports Center. Tens of thousands of soccer fans flooded the streets of Argentina's capital Wednesday night in a collective eruption of ecstasy over their national team's 2-1 victory over England to reach the World Cup final. Messi and company, the defending champions from Argentina, will now play Spain in the World Cup final Sunday. That's the poll question today. Will you be watching the World Cup final on Sunday? For me, it's a yes, because I don't see anything else going on. I think we have a day. I know that we have a day off from baseball. So, yeah, I didn't even get to the NHL yet, and we will later because as we're airing in several NHL markets. Interesting fun fact, Kenny Nagunst, who will join us next from 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas. He is a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and this man has 21 Penguins tattooed on his body. And don't worry, Kenny, I'm not going to ask you to show us. Just trust me when you're watching this interview and know that man has 21 Penguins under his clothes tattooed on his body. And if I'm lying, I'm crying, and I ain't shed a tear, as Larry the Cable Guy would say. We'll get to all that later on. See, there's a lot to get to today. We'll be right back. Our guest appearance brought to you by Prairie Panels. It's the RP Show on Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, and WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. I feel like this is just going to be amazing. That's the sense that I'm getting. John Ohm writes in. He says, Texas time. Yes, it is. Kenny Nagunst joining us from 806 Sport. You know our viewers love you, Kenny.
I don't believe it.
That's why you're so humble. And by the way, you're all worried you don't have your earbuds. You sound fine, pal. What's happening in Amarillo, Texas? What's happening today?
A ton of stuff, talking a whole bunch of stuff. World Soccer Fever is hit here, doing some of that talk about whether you're going to be a soccer watcher and that kind of stuff. But we did some interesting things today on the program about quarterbacks and about some of the stuff. And I have a kind of question. Can I ask you our question of the day, and then we could talk about whatever?
I feel like you're going to, so yes, go ahead.
Okay, so who is the current quarterback that may end up with a better career than Mahomes? With his 3 of 5 Super Bowls.
Bo Nix.
But what quarterback active right now?
Bo Nix.
Okay, I like that.
I actually have him in the Super Bowl this year. It ain't going to be Lamar Jackson because I think it's too late. I had to go to this young crop, let's say guys in their first 3 years of their career. I'll say Bo Nix. As a matter of fact, I guess I was going to open up with a Pittsburgh Penguins question for you, but I'll save that till later.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you have a Super Bowl match up right now?
No, not yet. We haven't. We're doing a 100-day countdown. We're doing jersey numbers. Today was number 55. So we're doing a countdown, an NFL player that wore the number 55 today. So we're kind of into that. And then we'll do we go through every team's schedule. We do all that stuff, that great field time during the summer. So we've done probably about half the team schedules, just wins or losses. Then we look at the number, the over and the under. So once we get through all that, we'll get to the Super Bowl. And who am I leaning towards right now? Rams and somebody.
Yeah, I got Rams and Denver Broncos. Am I on to something or am I on?
I'm okay with that. I had the Broncos last year. Because now they're they're no longer the Denver Broncos because they have D now. So now they're back to the Denver Broncos.
Are you going to just give me the bad jokes now or?
Well, the guy who tells bad jokes, I figured you would appreciate them as much as anyone.
Kenny Nagunst joining us from 806 Sports, Texas. Vancouver Eric says Josh Allen. Jason in Red Deer says Fernando Mendoza. Who was your pick? Who would have a better career than Patrick Mahomes?
The quarterback of the Rams.
Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people love him so much?
I think he has a shot. I don't know, but I think he has a legitimate shot to go back-to-back. And then what if he goes back-to-back and then next year it's the same Mahomes talk? Does he go 3 back-to-back-to-back? Now he's in that conversation. That would be my pick, even though he's a little older.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's just so much drama. There's a lot of reasons I want to bring you on, Kenny. I love you, and I love our chats. I love when we're on the air or off, whatever. But I also wanted our Canadian viewers to show how you guys do it down there in the States. And I didn't even ask you, and you said it. We're going through every team's schedule, going through all the rest. That's just how they do it. That's how they do it. Now, having said all of that, you're sitting there in Cowboys Central, right? West Texas.
Right.
Tell me what they're saying, because I'm not even really following I'm just, where I am. They're my team, and they upset me so much, I try not to think about them. Let me guess. They're going to the Super Bowl. That's the word there?
Undefeated Super Bowl. No, I had a Cowboy fan call up here, and I could tell you, I could probably get to it, but I had a Cowboy fan call up here and pick 12 wins, 13 wins. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was pretty early in the day to start drinking for that caller. But one of your callers called in that day I was on with you, one of the days I was on with you, and he says, when they found out that I was a licensed mental health and addiction recovery coach, he says, how can you help me deal with being a Cowboys fan? I said, don't watch the games. That would help.
That's about the only thing.
That's the only chance. Yeah. So you
pick
said
another
Rams
team.
And somebody. Yeah.
Well, I would do Denver. Yeah. I would do Denver. I'm with you with Denver. I had Denver last year. I believe they're that AFC team. The powers in the NFC is what we talked about. Cowboys are 6th, 7th. We looked at the odds, the Super Bowl odds. Cowboys, got 3 or 4 teams to get through to even be legitimate be in the Super Bowl. You think of that one whole division with the Rams, Seattle, San Francisco, throw away Arizona. Those 3 are probably the top 3, and then you throw in a Detroit, you throw in a Philadelphia, those normal powerhouses. I'm lost of who's going to win up there, whether it's going to be the Indiana Bears or it's going to be, the Packers, or I'm not a fan of Vikings in that awful Hornet home. Enough of that already, but I don't know. I mean, the Cowboys 6th, 7th, 8th, just in the NFC, and I think the NFC wins. I think the NFC probably wins the Super Bowl again. It changes AFC, NFC. I just think the NFC may be the powerhouse now.
Well, you say that, but that's a really good point. But there are the superpowers, but sometimes somebody sneaks up and wins it and bites you that you don't know because you're such a huge hockey fan. Maybe we should actually talk about that for a sec because, we're airing in Vegas on Silver State Sports. And, Carolina. Now, I had them going to the Stanley Cup. I regret a lot that I told you to take the under in the Stanley Cup final. I'm so sorry I gave you a bum steer on that, Kenny. But
I lost $8.06.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but my point is that somebody from the AFC can sneak up and win the damn thing because the NFC, those Titans will beat the hell out of each other on the road to the Super Bowl. That does happen, And can you talk about being a hockey, all the hockey, not just you, there's so many hockey fans down there.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Why is that?
So we have so many people from the north that moved down here. We're the Florida of the middle of the country. I don't know about Florida, but no state income tax, property really, really affordable. We got land. We've got everything in the world. We've got all 4 major sports now. There's a couple of teams everywhere. We got 2 baseball teams, one minor league, one non-pro team, the Cowboys, but then we also have the Texans. So we have it all if you want to come to Texas, and it's affordable. So that's why there's so many people from the north. I see so many Blackhawks sweaters. You see Ranger sweaters, people at we have a great junior team here, the Amarillo Wranglers. When you go to that game, you see besides, their jerseys, so many other sweaters of a bunch of easy-to-see dudes. Remember, we don't call nobody fat here. A bunch of easy-to-see dudes with their sweaters on, and a bunch of them are from the north. You don't see Florida shirts. You don't see Florida sweaters. You see Chicago, even North Montreal, but that's the influence of people from other parts of the country is Texas.
I'm actually really happy.
And that's why hockey's so popular.
I'm so happy. It's the exact same thing that happened in Florida, and that's why. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Now, since I have you here, and John writes in from Winnipeg, he says, Kenny rocks Texas. Yes, he does. Kenny, you're basically our Texas sports guy, okay? All sports. So I don't know if you saw the word. You probably hear this a lot, that Houston is in line to get an NHL expansion team. And I've asked the Dallas Stars people, how do you guys feel about this? And I never get an answer. Actually, Austin's names come up too. You probably heard that. How do you think a second team would go over in the state of Texas for the National Hockey League?
It would go over well, but are there enough puckheads to make that doable? I don't know. That's why the Stars are so, because they're the only team. That's why the Stars are so popular. You put another one here, some of the fans, if you like hockey, you want a Texas team, you pick them. Now, if you get the Houston one, because they're close, but they're not close. But if you get a Houston one, Austin, I don't know if Austin's big enough. It's a party town. It's a college town. It's a music town. I don't know if it's the hockey hotbed. So put it in Houston would be good because, back in the day with Gordie Howe and all of his kiddos playing there, I mean, it's got history. I'd be okay with that. But where would the other are we an odd number of teams? Because you're going to have another one. Can't bring in just one. Where's the other one of the talk that would come in with them?
Gary Bettman says he don't care. He says they're just going to bring in one. They did it. They did it for a few years with Vegas, and it worked out fine till Seattle came on. So he's not worried about that. Just so there's your answer on that. So thank you. Okay, that's why Dallas Stars don't want to tell me how they feel, because they don't want a second team. And that wouldn't surprise me. Yet living in Florida, I can't imagine us only having one team. We got a wonderful – they're already talking right now in July about the Panthers and Lightning games and how they're going to kick the crap out of each other with the Kachuk brothers on our side. So anyways, I want to ask you about that. Vancouver Eric says wants to know where can they listen to your show. You guys do a great job every morning. You know, I tune in. Sometimes I don't tell you I'm listening, but I am.
Yeah, I see it as well.
Where can they find you, Kenny?
We are on, of course, it is on the internet at 107.1 FM. It's called Nash the Icon. It's Facebook Live every day. Sometimes the cameras work, sometimes they don't, OBS and all that stuff. If I had a great guy like Corey, maybe we'd figure it out. But we're on Facebook Live every day on all of my public pages. They're all free public pages, 806 Sports, Kenny Nagunst, and we also have a fan page, 806 Sports fan page. So that group page, we share it to 3 things, and you can go back and listen anytime you want. A lot of people talk about, hey, Kenny, what about a podcast? The way it is, even with yours, it's an automatic podcast. Once it's out there on the internet, why have a separate podcast? So that's how you can find us. You can listen in and do whatever you want, win some stuff. We'll mail it to you.
There you go. 806 Sports, Texas, Kenny Nagunst. You can follow my stuff. He's friends with me. You can just follow the trail, and you'll get Kenny's stuff every day. I enjoy you guys so much. Now, since I told them it's
and that's
20,
sorry, that's 9 to 11 Central. 9 to 11 Central.
Right. Yeah, watch live, even better. But is it 21 penguins you have tattooed on your body? 21 penguins?
Yeah, I think that 20 or 21.
How is it
I could
that
show
you're
them. You want to see them?
Sure.
See how far I can get this up there.
21 penguin. They're all on his arm like bullets. That's what it's kind of an inside joke. Those are all penguins
it really
on
is.
Kenny's arm. Yeah. How is it that you're a Pittsburgh
It's got
Penguins
me a few
fan?
beverages.
Yeah, from Amarillo, Texas. How is that? How does that even happen?
We were their affiliate. The original Amarillo Wranglers were affiliate of the Penguins. And as a kiddo, we went to a game. My dad took me to a game. My dad got hit in the head with a puck. Puck landed by my feet. And then no internet or anything, went and got an encyclopedia or something and started looking and realized who the Pittsburgh Penguins were. And it's my favorite animal because, if you ever watched the March of the Penguins or anything, they take care of the baby, they survive. And what's wild is, most penguins live at the equator. They don't live in the cold. Most people think that's what you see, cold penguins. And so it's just a great tie-in. And then, I wanted an armband tattoo and I didn't want some tribal something. And so I loaded up some penguins and dropped it off of Iceberg.
Or barbed wire or something like that. So that
Exact.
same John Ohm wants to know who you think the greatest Dallas Cowboy is of all time. But you're not even a Cowboys fan. I want to ask you who's the best Pittsburgh Penguin of all time? Because you know what? It ain't a slam dunk.
Okay, if you were drafting, I'm going to turn it around. If you were drafting a Pittsburgh Penguin
Sidney
first,
Crosby.
I'd take Mario. Now,
said-
you fast forward Mario. You fast forward that tall 6'4" Mario when there was nobody else that was that size. His length of the stick, scored on his very first shift, skated down there and scored. There'd have been no Sid the Kid without Mario.
It's unfair.
I picked Mario.
It's unfair because they're such different players. And to be
I
honest,
agree.
you could actually put Jaromir Jagr on there, and I'm going to tell you could put Marc-Andre Fleury in there, and I would have time for that as well. Tom Barrasso.
Barrasso. One of my favorite players. I love Tommy B. I love Jagr. On my my Facebook page, some of my emails end in 68 because of Jagr. They still playing. It's ridiculous.
That's cool. Vancouver Eric says, Mario. I'll say this. Lorne Mulliken, dear friend of mine, was the head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, assistant coach in Pittsburgh. He coached and coached against both Mario and Sid, and he says Mario was better. So again, this show, you know the show well enough, Kenny. You know me. We don't fight. We may not agree on things, but we don't get in like the other shows.
I tell people all the time I discuss. If you want to change sides, you may still lose the argument, but I'll change sides with you. I just discuss.
Right. Brent in the Bridge City writes, and he says, Kenny has the whole team on his body. Cool guy. I love that accent. I got to watch his show. Since we're on the topic, you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And I'm guessing nobody brought up Baker Mayfield as a guy that is he too old to have a better career than Patrick Mahomes?
Well, he's won no Super Bowls.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not going to win 3 or 4 in the next 5, 7 years, and he probably won't be in the league anymore.
That's why I'm
You
saying
got to
it.
know your team.
But
You
doesn't
know,
mean he's not good.
no, but we're talking about better than Mahomes. And first of all, I'm not a big Mahomes fan. I think he's overrated. I mean, he's one Super Bowl from 500, one Super Bowl from 3-3. The greatest quarterback that I hear, especially around here, we covered him at Tech. He was considered the GOAT whenever he was winning all that GOAT stuff. And then my Buccaneers go in there and put a ass whooping to them, and they score 9 points. The best quarterback ever doesn't score 9 points in a Super Bowl. He didn't have a touchdown. And Brady, everybody, we had that discussion today. Brady won the Super Bowl. No, he didn't. Rod, you could have quarterbacked the Bucs that year when the team gives up 9 points. So the Mahomes thing to me, I think he's overrated. But of a better career, it's going to take a lot. You're going to have to get I think the NFL has a 5-year run, and their 5 years may have been over. I predict now, Mahomes does not go back to another Super Bowl.
I don't think he will either, but I also don't think he's overrated, Kenny. He's won 3, but that's fine. We don't fight.
Well, he lost 2.
I promised the viewers I would bring up Brendan Sorsby to you. We got about 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Should he be playing in the NCAA or NFL?
He does have an addiction. He needs a second chance. He should sit out wherever they want to, but I don't know about teams like the CFL saying he ain't going to play here and all that. He's not going to play this year. I'm especially the Tech stuff. Him coming back to Tech is a bad look for around here, but he should have a job in professional football if he can make the cut and he can do all that. He can get drafted. Yes, he should have an opportunity because there are a lot worse people. I know gambling's really, really bad, but there's a lot of stuff that's worse than that. There's some NFL players that are in the Hall of Fame and are still playing. And if you don't want to do that, NFL, quit putting the crawl at the bottom for FanDuel and ESPN Bet. Quit putting all that on the crawl. Quit putting it out on the video boards if you're going to be that brand. Where gambling's the worst thing in the world.
They don't care if the fans do it. They just don't want their players doing it. So are you saying Sorsby? Okay, so Sorsby, I guess he's playing with Texas Tech this year. He has been cleared by the Amarillo judge.
No,
right?
he's done.
Oh, he's still suspended?
Done. No, that was a Lubbock judge. No, he's already said he's going to be in the next draft. Tech washed their hands of him.
But he's banned by the NCAA. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And so the NFL says we're not going to do a supplemental draft. So that's not going to happen. Right. Do you think anybody takes him?
Oh, yeah, somebody takes him. They're quarterback desperate. It's a quarterback league. Somebody will take him.
And is he that good?
He's a good college quarterback, but does that always make a good pro quarterback? According to where he goes. He'll be good if you put him on a Rams team. You put him on the Cleveland, how good's he going to be? Sador good?
I think so. The team's bad.
I do too.
Yeah, I think he's a good one. But Mike Davis says he thinks, all things being equal, from the Vegas Nighthawks, who comes on this show every Friday, that he's a top 3, all things being equal, top 3 quarterback in his draft class. So I guess we'll find out. Kenny, this went by far too fast. Good to see you, my man. Keep in touch.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Corey. You rock.
The great Kenny Nagunst, 806 Sports, Amarillo, Texas. Look him up. The inspiration for Patrick Swayze's character in the movie Roadhouse. We'll be right back on the RP Show. See you, buddy.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Sask Tigs.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I appreciate Ken in Mississauga. Ken Gill writing in regarding our interview with Kenny Nagunst. He goes, that was really great and went fast. Oh, I would love if Kenny and I, if we did a show, just the two of us every single day, I think it would be a hell of a lot of fun. But I get to mix it up with all my friends, and that's what's great about it. Because to me, variety is the spice of life. It's never boring around here, right? But thank you, Ken, and thank you, Kenny. I mean, those shows, I couldn't even imagine. I'll just tell you this. Probably wouldn't surprise you. It's 2 hours a day, 9 a.m. to 11 in Amarillo, Texas, which they classify as West Texas. And so to go through every single NFL team schedule, game by game by game, it would take days. He does it, and they listen. I could do that, but I'm also into other things like this. Sports update. Well, I'm not into golf, but I'm going to read it anyways. The season's final major began earlier this morning at Royal Birkdale Golf Club outside Liverpool, where 156 golfers are competing for the Claret Jug. Some of the most notable names in the field, including Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Tommy Fleetwood, and Liv Golf's Bryson DeChambeau, and John Rahm teed off hours ago. That is on, USA in the USA and Peacock. The World Cup is nearly over, but soccer isn't going anywhere as MLS returns today from its 7-week summer break. As the league said in its return to play campaign, thanks world, we'll take it from here. I feel like that will be the title of my next book. I'm not sure, but a working title. Thanks, I'll take it from here. We'll see. I have a few other ideas. Speaking of coming back from the break, MLB's second half begins tonight. With one game in the same stadium that just hosted this week's All-Star festivities, as the Phillies host the Mets, 7 p.m. ESPN, in an NL Eastern clash. The Mets opened the season with a 79.9% chance of making the playoffs per Fangraphs. Instead, they have MLB's fourth worst record. 40 wins. And those playoff odds have plummeted to 0.4%. By the way, you see me looking around. So I'm doing this show for the summer from a sports facility. And I've told you this before, but for those that have just joined us and don't know the drill, there's tennis courts on the other side of that wall. Clearly, I'm on a basketball and volleyball court. There's baseball batting cages over there, a full-service gym back behind me, a yoga studio up there, a golf course outside the front doors, and people just randomly come in here and ask me, like, where the bathroom is or where's the kids program. Can you not see that I'm sitting behind a microphone? I'm not the greeter. On the television tonight, the Liberty are at the Wings in the WNBA. These two contenders are going in opposite directions as Dallas has won 5 straight and New York has lost 3 in a row. And stage 12 of the Tour de France. Riders will travel 111 miles, 111 on this flat stage from the Circuit de Nevers-Magny-Cours to Chalon-sur-Saône. Easy for me to say. And that is the sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't just watch the game, live it. Gear up at the Ultimate Fan Zone today. Jerseys, cards, collectibles, find it all at ultimatefanzone.ca. That's what I admire about a guy like Kenny. And I guess his viewers know what they're going to get. Our listeners on 806 Sports, and you can watch on Facebook every day. That's how I consume it. I watch it. You can sit here and read off a little bit of everything because that's why we call ourselves the Golden Corral of Sports. Or be like Kenny and just sit there and talk about the NFL every single day because let's be honest, that's all they want down there. And college football too. I mean, if that is your thing and you're in Canada, you might want to check out Kenny's show. John Ohm says, fantastic time with Texas Kenny. We met in Burlington, Ontario last summer. And the people that were hosting us, we went to Niagara Falls. I had met Kenny. I'd known him for about a couple hours at this point. And the guy that was hosting us wanted to go to Applebee's for supper. And Kenny's like, I didn't come all the way from Amarillo, Texas to go to an Applebee's. I'm like, psst, they might pick up the tab. Which they didn't. Brent in Saskatoon says 100% John Ohm. Really enjoyed listening to Rod and Kenny. Hang on. We got overtime coming up, and there's more comments coming in. So we don't have time in this break, but we got one more, and that's what it's for, overtime, viewer takeover. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show, Silver State Sports, Game Plus, podcast, and WQVZ.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. This is the perfect segment for what it's intended. Brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, which, by the way, book lane time now online at Overtime Hockey Lanes, and you'll get free tickets to the CFL's Calgary Stampeders. And listen, I am here for the CFL talk. It's the only football outdoor league playing right now. How about that? To our indoor friends, they're still playing too. But I'll answer this. A lot of people have questions, is my point. We could do this for 2 full hours, but I feel like it would lose its specialness if we did. Wayne in Winnipeg writes, and he says, hey, RP, what's all this talk that the Ticats are trying to get Caleros from the Blue Bombers? Is Scott Milanovich desperate enough to trade a receiver to him like Kenny Lawler? Here's the answer to that. Yes, they are desperate. Didn't you watch the game on Sunday? None of this surprises me. I mean, how or why this got out there into the media, I'm not sure, but think about it. They can't win a game. They don't have a hope without a number one QB1. The 2 guys they tried on Sunday have not been able to get it done. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And if you're Winnipeg, at some point you got to move on from Zach Caleros. The last guy Friday night proved that you can win without Zach, Drew Brown. Why wouldn't you trade Zach Caleros to Hamilton? The only thing is trades in the CFL are pretty rare. Is Winnipeg in the business of helping out Hamilton? I guess we're going to find out. But that's my answer to that. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. So David, number 2 in Winnipeg, I'm dying to answer this question for you. This will shock you and probably a lot of the viewers. David says, if you could only focus on one sport, which would it be? It would be hockey. It would be primarily the National Hockey League, but also junior and college. I love them all. It would be hockey. That's what I was raised in. So, yeah, but the question should be phrased, if you had to only focus on one sport, which would it be? Because I love them all. And if you go watch, like I'm going into that CKRM Hall of Fame Saturday night, the interview they did with me, I explained in that I never ever planned to be in the CFL or football. It's not to say that I didn't want to be. I never for 1 minute thought that I would be doing football for a living. And that's what I became known for, which is fine. I'm grateful for it. And a lot of my closest, greatest friends came from football. But it was unbelievably stressful being the voice of Canada's Dallas Cowboys or Alabama, where I think about this all the time. You saw the interview with Giroy yesterday. The premier of the province called him when we traded for him from the BC Lions. You don't realize it when you're living there, but when you get out of there, you're like, whoa, that doesn't happen very often in most places. It's a big deal. And it took me a long time to get good at it and get used to it. And then by the end, after 20 years, I'm like, I'm done and ready to go do what I wanted to do in the first place, which was hockey, and still is. That's why the Florida podcast for the Panthers is flourishing because it's what I've always wanted to do. But when I say one sport, I love the baseball. Look at these kids that I love so much with the Millers baseball team, NCAA, and their parents. I mean, so my friends that only do one sport, they tell me all the time how lucky I am because I get to focus on a variety of sports at all levels and still travel and do the cool things and make the new friendships. Or bring a guy on like G-Roy yesterday. It was like it was 2013 all over again. That's the special stuff of being able to do a variety of sports. So again, my friends are like, you're so lucky. I'm like, I know that. And I know that every single day. So that's why I don't sit back here complaining. So that's my long-winded answer of yours. Now, Bob in Medicine Hat says, good day, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat, no, I won't be watching the soccer finals. Never was interested in soccer. So I'm sitting here. Here's the problem. I never even talked today about Calvin Teagle, who's been announced. Calvin Teagle. It's like wiggle, but with a T, going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. I don't need to read off his stats because I was there. I watched him. He set a single game record for tackles in a game, which was later broken by TCU's Reggie Hunt. I called that game in Winnipeg, which was later broken by Simone Lawrence, that single game tackles record. But what I remember about Calvin Teagle was I was a sideline reporter at Saskatchewan when in a TV timeout, our mascot, Gainer the Gopher, was going across the field with his bike. Calvin came up, pushed him out of the way, took his bike, and started riding it around the field. Calvin Teagle. How do I know? I was the sideline reporter. I was 18. Struggle in my life as I'm sitting here at 53, having done it all, kind of sitting here going, now what? So that's the point. That's the beauty of it. But going into that Hall of Fame icon thing on Saturday night, a guy said to me, you don't need to work anymore. You've already got the Hall of Fame. But I do. And that's where we're at. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And now you know the rest of the story. Carlos in Indiana writes in and says, bring on Football Friday. Moose is going to be with us in hour 1. Charleston Hughes in hour 2. And Storm Chaser Ricky Forbes. Vancouver Eric says, is the voice of the Panthers the ultimate goal? I don't have an ultimate goal, bro, and I should get one. But it's getting up every day and loving what I do is what my goal is every single day. That's why it says one day at a time. And the guys that do the Panthers games are friends of mine. I had to sit them down when I first went to Florida 6 years ago and said, guys, I don't want your job. I don't want your job, so don't worry. I've been through that with people. I'm not trying to take your job. I just want to put on a show here and have fun. Funny how that works out, huh? Way back in hour 1, we did all CFL in hour 1, Wayne, just so you know. That's what we do. Hour 1, Canadian Talk. Hour 2, we try to limit it as we are in Nevada. That's all I can say. He's written in with a machine gun of CFL questions as we hit the final 49 seconds of the program. Ken in Mississauga says, I'd like you to interview the Miller player's dad who works for Harrah's in Atlantic City. I always say the parents have far more interesting stories than the kids, the players of the Millers. But the kids are still writing their stories. So I just heard from that guy last night, by the way. Jim Kurtz Sr. from Atlantic City, the entertainment director at Harrah's. Again, the parents have far more interesting stories than the kids, but that's kind of the way life is. Tomorrow, Moose, Charleston Hughes, and Ricky Forbes. It's going to be big fun. Thanks for listening to me more than anything today, everybody. Thanks to Kevin the Medium today, Kenny Nagunst, producer Corey. We'll do it all again tomorrow on the RP Show.
That